Good morning, it's Jonathan Barrett with Morning Debrief. It's the 21st of September and 21st of December, Wednesday. The current time is 7:06. And, well, interesting night last night. The Dow was certainly stronger during most of the session, particularly on the fact that, as we can see there, Greek are making some good progress on its debt payments. And but however, that was dashed by the IMF report. It came out and said that global growth is probably not as strong as where we expect it to be. And in fact, there is a real chance that we could get into a recession or a double dip. So market was a little bit nervous on that, and obviously we gave back some of the earlier gains. The Dow was quite strong during one night, up over 100 points, but certainly came back on the back of that news. Okay, let's have a quick look at what's happening out there in terms of the news. I guess if anything, Greece, a little bit of positiveness there on what's happening there. So quite happily moving along. That gave the market back a little bit of support. Looks like concerns with Obama's 1.5 trillion tax program. There is a little bit of confrontation going on there, which I think is making people a little bit concerned. When you look at all the other bits, US housing starts to fall to 3 months low. IMF cuts global growth rates. We've talked about that. So if anything there, that remains a bit of a concern. Crude up a little bit on the back of optimism of the stimulus, but let's see what happens. And obviously things in Libya are looking a little bit easier, and obviously a little bit more growth. We still need to see where Colonel Gaddafi is, and we also need to see some closure on what's happening there. But it seems to be going the right way. Okay, having a look at the world indexes. You can see the Dow was up 7 points, the S&P was down 2, the Nasdaq was down 22. Across Europe, positive night, obviously on the back of those little bit of an upbeat reports, what's happening in Greece. But remember, Italy was actually downgraded as well from an A plus. That will obviously hurt our ability to loan money. Remember, Italy is the third largest economy in Europe, so that does, in my mind, create a bit of a concern. But anyway, we'll run with the positiveness while it's there. And obviously, FTSE up 104, CAC was up 44, DAX was up 155. Close to home, S&P, the SPY was down 41 at 40, but certainly on SciComm, it was up a little bit. So that was pretty good. Anyway, up actually reversing those gains that we did have. Okay, let's have a look at now the commodity prices, and then we'll look at the currencies. Crude oil was up a little bit on the back of the optimism, 86.53. Still broken down a major trend line. It breaks through 85, then down she goes. But obviously crude up on that optimism. Everything else relatively stable. Just a bit of changes here, but copper took a big hit. Copper was down 7 points, 371. We actually did mention that it's quite negative there, down 1.88%. Broke through those trend lines. We didn't warn everyone, but we certainly did. Certainly out of the bulletin. Gold had a very strong night. It was up $26 at 18.05. If you followed the tweets last night, we all went long at 17.78. And we're now looking to pick up more gold as we feel that correction is a little bit out of the way. Silver, strong night, up 0.67% at 39.84. So quite good there. Just having a look now at some currencies. The dollar index, 77.51. Came back a little bit, as you can see, but overall we like that. So still consolidating here, and I'd probably expect the dollar to remain relatively well bid. Looking at the Aussie, 102.68, big dip from yesterday. On that announcement that Italy was downgraded, we saw people fly to the US dollar. That hurt the Aussie, but since then we've lifted. Look, good support here at 101.80. So I think any dip down there can be looked at. Obviously, a stop can go below there. 108.30, 40 is where your stop can go if you want to go long the Aussie. Okay, let's have a look at some of the others. The Euro, 137, and as you can see there, it's quite volatile. But if anything, a little bit of a bounce there. But I think the market's still saying, well, look, things don't look all that good, but be guided by the technicals in this case. And I think at the moment you can see that if it's at 136, that's relatively stable. And, you know, if we can see the market trade above that, then you might get a little bit of short covering. Okay, let's have a look now at just some of the other markets. That's a bit better. Sorry, a little bit of a dip. Looking at the SPY. Well, let's have a look at copper. 371 down 1.92% already, and obviously that's been hit on the back of just economic concerns. So there it is there, and even now we speak, it's looking weak. So there it is, broke through those trend lines we talked about. Expectations probably back down to this level here, so 360, and maybe even down to that, a little bit lower, down to the top of that, which is about that 355. So that remains relatively weak on that front. Okay, crude oil we've talked about, copper we've talked about, gold we've talked about. Let's have a look at what's coming out in the economic calendar. And Westpac leading index, consumer inflation expectations, credit card spending in Australia, a little bit of data, Bank of England minutes coming out tonight in England, CPI in Canada, existing home sales in Australia, and also the FOMC rate decision. Expectations are for that rate to remain relatively stable. In fact, no change whatsoever. Of the positions we've got open at the moment, obviously gold is one we put on. If you listened to the tweets yesterday, we had that good entry level, so quite happy. Probably add 2 on that position on gold, and because we feel there is a low. Stops are really easily defined. There's no problems there, just in the low of the day yesterday, and I think looking forward to higher prices. Still major concerns out there, obviously, with debt and the passing of Obama's stimulus package. But all in all, if we get some good signs there, then probably see a little bit of a couple of updates in the equities and a little bit of update in gold as well. See that trend continue. Well, that's it from me. Hope everyone has a great day. We'll talk to you later. Bye for now.